New York Congressman George Santos won't seek re-election next year following a damning House Ethics Committee report that says there's evidence the Republican broke the law. The committee says Santos exploited his candidacy to benefit himself. Among the things he's accused of, knowingly causing his campaign to file false reports and using campaign funds for personal use. And oh boy, did he. That includes allegedly stealing from his campaign, deceiving donors, and lying to his constituents and his own staff. Scott MacFarlane joins us now with the details. Scott, what has the reaction been so far?
Particularly striking, John, because typically congressional reports and House Ethics Committee reports are bureaucratic, they're inside baseball, they're procedural. This was different. From start to finish, the words just jumped off the page. The committee alleges George Santos stole money, committed fraud, that what they found parallels what the federal prosecutors have alleged in a criminal case against George Santos. So there have been a growing number of members of the House who've said that it's time to expel George Santos if he doesn't resign. So here's your bottom line, John. When the House returns here the week after Thanksgiving, there may be a race to offer a formal expulsion vote. We could get one as early as tomorrow. And the votes might be there. But with George Santos not set to go on trial in New York until September, it's almost a binary situation, John. Either he's going to be ousted in the next week or two, or he may make it all the way through this term.
Scott, there have been over the years a number of oddballs in Congress. They've resigned, been forced to resign. They've slunked away in ignominy. Congress, like any institution, has its people of low character. But in this case, is that what this is? Just one for the history books? Or is there something about the Santos story that connects to the current state of Congress?
There's something unique about George Santos because it's right there in the DNA of his biography. Lies, exaggerations, or a lack of credibility. I mean, this comes before his time in Congress. I mean, the Ethics Committee puts in its report, not only do they believe he engaged in misconduct in his campaign, filing false information with the Federal Election Commission, they said, taking donors' money for personal use and luxury items, they say. But they talk about his earlier life, that he was making up components of his backstory, about where he went to college, about his relatives, about his personal upbringing. I mean, they're arguing that this isn't just a misconduct in office. They're saying this guy isn't to be believed from the jump, and that is distinctive. What does it say about the broader Congress? That's harder to read, but I would buy stock, if offered the opportunity, in businesses that do opposition research, because somebody didn't do it right in 2022, be it the Republicans, his internal review, or the Democrats. And I think it's less likely that type of oversight happens in 2024. I think every candidate, both sides, is going to invest even more deeply than they do in opposition research.
And briefly, Scott, in the actual business of Congress, they've gone home early for Thanksgiving. Why?
They're at an impasse, and they know it. They can't even get Republican votes for Republican bills in the U.S. House. That is a pernicious, fundamental problem they've got to fix. Being here 10 straight weeks wasn't helping, but they better find an answer before the January deadline, or a shutdown's a-coming.
Scott MacFarlane in Washington. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.